What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Contractor Secrets podcast. In this business breakthrough session, I sit down with Jack, a longtime Instagram follower of mine. Finally reached out. We finally connected, and he wanted some advice on how to handle his current situation in his business. And we'll get into that, obviously, as you listen to the breakthrough session. But one thing that really stood out to me is how hard change really is. And I know that there's a lot of you out there that are just so good at doing one aspect of your business, and adopting a new way to do things is just extremely uncomfortable, extremely hard. There's a lot of uncertainty. And all I can really give to you is a message of just push through. Get through it, do it, and learn. Here real quick before we start this thing, you guys know I'm starting a software company, Dripjobs. Do you know how much uncertainty comes with that? I mean, I don't know how to code, right? So that's scary. I don't know how to, do a lot of things, but I have this mentality that I'm going to push through, and I'm going to be resourceful, and I'm going to find who needs to help me when I need the help and how to do it, and ask as many questions as I need to. But ultimately, that will help this endeavor become successful because of that mentality, and just staying put and not putting yourself out there and not doing what's uncomfortable. There's no reward in that. So you don't get a reward without that risk. So if you're in your business and you have this area of your business where you just feel like, you're just afraid of, or you're intimidated by, and that's what's inhibiting your growth, it's time to get uncomfortable, and it's time to be comfortable getting uncomfortable. So that's my message to you. Enjoy this business breakthrough session. The big question you need to ask yourself every day is, do I own a job or do I own a business? And unfortunately, the majority of contractors out there own a job. That's right, they're a slave to their own business. But the other side of the fence is so much greener, it's so much better, and that's when you're finally fully in control of your destiny, your freedom, your time. And that's what Contractor Secrets is about. It's about taking back our time, building a business with systems, standards, values, procedures, putting yourself in the driver's seat. And that's what it's about. So I'm excited. I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the Contractor Secrets podcast. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Business Breakthrough. I'm here with Jack, a longtime follower of mine on Instagram. We finally got a chance to connect. He owns Paint Kingz in the United Kingdom. So I already have a bunch of questions, but I know this is a coaching session. So I'll let you kind of tell me what's going well in your business, and what was the purpose for you reaching out, man? What's an area of your business that, you could use some help in?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
We're always learning. That's
I
me.
love
I'm
that.
always learning. If you can learn. You can learn a 5-year-old, man. You can learn from a 2-year-old. You can learn from a 6-year-old.
I love it.
So I'm always trying to improve, always trying to do better. I don't say we are the best. I say we try to be the best. Does it make
Try to be
sense?
the best. I
If
love
you
that.
say you are the best, then you have to live up to that name.
Right.
Does it
If
make
you say
sense?
you're the best, I think that sounds like you don't need to learn anything else, right?
That's it. That's it. So when you say you try to be the best, and people reward you and blow your own trumpet, then it's okay. Then yeah, we're gonna take that.
Cool, cool. I like that, man. So, well, let's start with this. Tell me about what your day to day looks like. That's where I want to go. Tell me what your day to day looks like. What do you do on a daily basis in your business?
At the moment, I have 2 businesses.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Since the pandemic up until now, I've still got 2 businesses. I don't know why. I don't know why I've done this move, but I've done it, and the bank balance is going like this because I'm
Gotcha.
taking money out from this to put it in there, and it's too much. So
So
this
tell
is
me
one
about
of
the
the
two types of businesses that you have. What do you do?
So it's 2 different businesses, totally different businesses. So prior to painting, I'll tell you a bit about my history.
Okay.
So prior to painting, I was doing the fast food industry for the age of 16 all the way to the age of 30.
Wow.
Okay. Single guy, late nights, finishing up, have a few, that's fine. And then
Gotcha.
once I got settled down with a woman, I got married, I thought, right, knuckle down, late nights I can't do, I need to change it up. And then I
Gotcha.
bought myself a van. Once I bought myself a van, it moved up where I like painting. I love painting, like me, just general. But
Sure.
then when I seen the spraying side, I said, this is what I want to do.
Okay. So spraying
Within,
kind of opened your eyes up to the possibilities.
yeah, yeah. So this is where I went the whole hog. I started the company in 2016, doing it slowly, 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 slowly. I started off on like minimum it's like £30 a day, which is rock bottom prices because you've
Okay.
got to build yourself up. So built it up, built it up, built it up all the way up until this March when I had, it's a blessing because I had my first child, which is my daughter. And then at the same time, within a week, 2 weeks, I bought a different business, which is a dessert bar. Okay.
Okay. So let me recap for the audience. You
Yeah.
have a painting business from 2016. Um, you've been growing it, growing it, growing it, and you're at a place now where you're happy with the growth. And then you decided this year to start a dessert bar as well.
Correct.
Okay. So let me ask you this. How many people work for you in the painting business?
No one at the moment.
Okay.
I've cut it
So
down minimum because my hours are like all over the place. I'm
all
finishing
over the
late
place.
and I'm starting late here, so it's not suitable for me to employ somebody because they can't work around me. Does it make sense? So I haven't
Well,
got. Yeah.
it makes sense to you, but
Mm-hmm.
to me, come from my perspective, it doesn't make sense at all because I'm the type of person that says you are the business owner. Your time is much more valuable outside of the business rather than inside the business. Because
Definitely.
ultimately, whenever you clock in your own business, I know that it sounds weird, but that's what you do. Every time you pick up a paintbrush or a sprayer, you're clocking in for Paint Kings. And
Correct.
there's an hourly wage that you're accepting as a wage for your services in your own business, because if that were somebody hiring you, you'd be working inside of Paint King. So whatever that hourly wage is what you valued yourself at on a daily basis. When you and I both know as a business owner of multiple businesses, which you clearly have the enthusiasm, which is a lot different than many people do in our society. You have that itch as an entrepreneur. Your value is much more greater outside of the business. So for you to say that it doesn't make sense for you to bring someone inside the business because your hours are up and down, well, it's simply because you're not spending enough time finding more opportunities because you're so busy painting.
Correct.
Right. So, to be honest, you and I both know that you're probably stretched pretty thin. You gave me an analogy today of really what's going on in the bank account. It's dropping because you're taking money from painting and you're trying to stimulate the ice cream business and or the dessert business. And then if you make good money in the dessert business, you probably use that to cover your painting costs, and it's all over the place.
Yeah.
The problem you're going to run into, and we can get outside of the painting business now, is that don't take the business principles that you know inside of the painting business into the dessert business, because if anything is true here, I'm going to take a wild guess. Who's working in the dessert business with you? Is it you doing that by yourself as well?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to get yourself in a position where neither of the businesses are going to be successful.
You're right. Yeah. You're right.
Okay, good. So I'm just being honest, and
Yeah,
let's get that out of the
I
way.
like that. I like that. I like
All right,
that because
good.
I work with that because
Some people get it.
I'm one of I try to be a problem solver instead of just looking at the problem. So I'll kind of okay, this is the problem.
I can
Let's
work with
deal
that.
with it.
I can work with that. That's great because some people get offended, and if you get
No,
offended
no,
because of
no.
that, then you're gonna stay there. I'm not. I don't judge. I think that you're excited. I think that it's a good thing that you start businesses. I think that that's a bold thing to do in our world today, especially during a pandemic, to start another business. But I honestly believe, Jack, that if your painting business was as successful as we both know it should be, you wouldn't have needed to start that dessert business. And if you really have a passion for dessert and you really want to get that out to the world, it would be much more fun to do that when your painting business is running itself and you could do
That's
that.
it.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? If you love
yeah,
dessert,
yeah.
that's your
Exactly,
passion.
exactly. Yeah,
If
yeah,
that's your
yeah.
passion, I love that. And I think that it goes for the same because I want to give some context here. I believe
Mhm.
that you're also passionate about painting, you know,
It's
spraying.
it's made me realize once I was taken away from painting, it's in the painting industry. Okay, the only person that can let you down is yourself. If you're a painter, just you haven't got a company. You're a painter. You work for yourself, and that's it. You're doing a job for somebody. The only person that can let you down is yourself.
Correct.
But when you're relying on others and they let you down, and it's hard work when you've got, it's different when it's guys because you can say F, Y, Z to them. But when it's girls who are working and you have to have a different, softer approach to talk to them.
I don't think that's true. I think
In the
that
UK, in the UK, they're a lot touchy and sensitive.
okay, well maybe
Yeah,
in the UK, I feel like in,
yeah,
you know, if you do something wrong, you did something wrong. I think that the
yeah,
tonality can I don't I'm not vulgar to my guys. I'm
yeah,
not disrespectful to my guys when they do
yeah,
something wrong. I think it comes
yeah.
down to how the leader treats people, whether they're a female
Correct,
or a male. I think there's a
correct,
certain way to get your message across in a way that comes across respectful. But ultimately, if someone in my business is doing something wrong, I'm going to point it out to them because ultimately it's either wrong or it's right. I don't need to be vulgar to you to get my point across. You either did it wrong or you did it right. You know, and
correct.
if it continues, then you won't work for me anymore. Very simple.
Yeah,
So, in terms of that dynamic, I get it. But really, what I want to do is help solve the problem here. And I'm
correct,
looking at somebody who's passionate about business, but has not mastered one yet. And if you aren't at a position where you've mastered one, to start another one is taking away time from you to master the painting business. And you reached
correct.
out to me. I'm not a restaurant here. I almost was. I managed restaurants, and I know that that has actually a higher demand of time than painting does because the hours extend past 5 o'clock when you're selling desserts, right?
Correct.
So I understand that that's more of a time commitment, you know. But let's go back to the painting business because
Yeah,
I really want you to get this. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
so so you have a certain amount of time during the day. Okay,
yeah.
whatever you create in this life is a sum total of the amount of time that you spend and where you spent it. Okay, if the goal of your painting business is to grow the business, any time that you clock in to paint, which is a majority of your time, you're doing the exact opposite of what your goal is. Because when you paint, you're not growing your business at all. Just so you know, there's no growth happening with a brush or a sprayer in your hand at all. This is a major problem. Okay. Growth occurs when money is transacted from a sales interaction, which is the result of a marketing effort. Okay. You see how the cycle works?
Correct. Yes.
Right. So, one benefit that we have nowadays is that a lot of the marketing for your services is automated. Okay. That means that I know that in the UK, they have all sorts of lead services. If I'm a homeowner in the UK, I don't care where I am, if I need a paint contractor, what would be the first step for me nowadays in the UK, just so I can stay up to date with what's going on over there? What would the average homeowner do to find a painting contractor?
Google.
Google. Okay. So let me ask you this. If I lived in the UK and I Googled a painter in my area, would Paint Kings come up?
That's a good question because only today I got an email from a company to say we in our area we are one of the top three companies on Google that
Jack,
have.
I'm going to come at you right now, brother, because I want you to take ownership here. If you don't know the answer to that, aside from somebody telling you, we're looking at a problem because that needs to be something that you do on a regular basis is Googling your own company. I
Yeah,
mean, if you're telling me that the number one place in the United Kingdom where people are searching for services is Google, then every morning when you wake up, you should be looking and seeing where you are and who's there ahead of you and what
yeah,
you need to be doing to get up there.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Being honest, you shouldn't wait
yeah.
for a random marketing email for someone to come tell you this so they can sell you the services.
Yeah. Prior to that email, I listened to Gary Vee. So have you heard of Gary Vee?
Of course.
Right. So Gary Vee talks about Google AdWords and stuff. I haven't sussed it out in terms of how it works and all that because with everything going on, you can't fit everything in. So now and then I might just search and find out. So I was thinking of in my local area to do this, but I thought, okay, let me just try and see painters near me what comes up and what comes up, and we were in the top two or three. About 8 months ago, we were top
You know
eight.
why that happened? Because you Googled painters near me and you live near you. So all it did was find you. But if someone 10 miles away Googled painters near me, you're not going to come up.
Yeah.
That's why that happened. So it was actually a false read because Google finds your location and then you Google painters near me. Well, you're right there.
Yeah. I understand what you mean. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. Yeah. So it's like generally whenever somebody rings us and says X Y Z, can you give us a price or quote or price? I'll ask them. I'll say, oh, where did you get a number from? General question. Oh, we got it
Good
from
question.
such a person, or we got it from Google, or we got it from here. It's not Facebook, even though I see Facebook, Instagram, the social media, they're like the BBC Ones, BBC Twos, the
Right.
what everybody's looking at nowadays on the TV.
Right.
So everybody's looking at
Different
BBC
lead.
Ones, BBC Two, yeah.
You
Yeah.
have a good
So,
understanding. And I think that let me pause there because I want to hit on that because Facebook is a different lead flow. I liken it to this. I'm going to give you an example of the differences, not only for you, but for the context of our episode
yeah.
here is that if I picture Facebook leads as if somebody's sitting on Netflix, watching Netflix and someone knocks on their door and interrupts them watching Netflix and says, hey, by the way, do you need a paint job? And they might say, well, I'm watching Netflix right now, maybe later. Right. But Google is if somebody actively seeks for the service as opposed
Correct.
to being interrupted. So totally different. We definitely want Google to be one of our top lead generation companies. Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you another simple question. How many Google reviews does your company have on Google?
Compared to others, this is what I'm trying to do is we have only 9. Okay. But compared to the other painters in our location, we have the most.
Well, that doesn't say much, but what I think that you should do is set your own standard because I don't compare myself because I have 110 on Google right now, and the next competitor's 59. I could have stopped at 70 and said, well, the next competitor has 70. I know that new reviews will boost me up further. So I'm keeping the foot on the pedal to make sure that people are finding me. So I want to get back to our original point because I don't want to go too deep into Google. You can research we have AdWords, SEO. It's pretty simple. It's a matter of either you do it yourself or you hire someone to do it. I'm a proponent of paying for somebody else to do it so you can focus on what you're good at. So the idea is, Jack, we're looking at a dire situation here. Unfortunately, you are 100% responsible for what happens in your business. Right now, as you sit here and talk to me, you're not making any money at all. Okay. No. Bank account isn't moving. Okay. No. Difference is not bragging. I want you to see I'm sitting here talking to you. I have jobs going, money's coming in, deposits are going to be made today as I sit here and have this conversation with you. Okay. You're not that far away from that being your reality as well. And actually my passion is helping you get there because I believe that every contractor deserves to get to that point after they've put in their time. And because you took the risk to start a business, which many people do not. You're taking the risk to reach out and learn about how to market, how to sell, and do all these things so you can provide opportunity for people to work under Paint Kingz and provide a good service. What's your biggest? Let me ask you this. Like some contractors have the fear that when they hire people, they won't uphold the same standard that they have. Okay. So for you, I'm thinking that the biggest drawback is the fact that you're not confident that you will have enough work for the individuals that you bring on, and you don't want that to occur where you have. Is that true?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Be not like very straightforward here. Okay.
Yeah.
You had a baby. Yes.
Correct.
When you had a baby, did you work harder or did you take your foot off the gas?
Harder
by default, right? I mean, you have a new responsibility. I think you told me you started a new business, right after the baby.
Yeah.
So I would say you worked a lot harder. I mean, you had to get creative, right? You were like, this painting business isn't going to do it. I should probably think about starting something else, right?
The other business, it was just an investment for me because I knew it was pretty simple. Build it up, sell it. But I'm at a stage where I'm not even building it because my time's been taken away from both. So I'm not moving forward on both. So this is why my direction is like, okay,
let one go. But the mindset was, all I'm thinking about is the creativity here, dude. All I'm thinking about is the fact that you had a new child and you were creative and it maybe gave you a push to think, okay, I should actually build this up and sell it. So I would have something greater than what I have now, right?
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
core. Okay. It's the same thing when you hire a new employee. And the reason I say that is because you know that someone's counting on you. And when you know that someone's counting on you, that you've made a promise to, that out of every other company in your area chose to work for Jack
Yeah.
and his company, there's a
Yeah.
certain level of motivation that occurs that'll that'll pull out the creativity and the resourcefulness that you need to sell the jobs to keep that individual busy. Would you agree?
Correct. Yes, you're right.
There's never a right time, brother. There's never a right time because here's the reality, right? If we look at what the perfect time would be to bring help on, would you say that there's like this idea that you would have 4 weeks of work lined up and then you'd feel comfortable bringing the help on? Or would it make more sense to bring the help on first, get to know them, train them at a slow pace, and have more confidence when you sell the jobs because you know you have help to do them, instead of when you go into the job thinking, man, this is a lot. I got to do all this. I'm going to rack up the price because if I'm going to do this, and then you wind up not getting the job at all because the competitor has a team of 3, he lowers the price at a lower margin because he's going to sell another one. And now you're wondering why you have no work.
Correct.
So my number one suggestion, you're going to have to take the risk. Investing is risky. Having a baby is risky. Going into business is risky. Hiring someone is risky. But let me paint this picture real quick, and then I'll let you chime in because I know I overtalk here, but I want to get my message across, man.
Yeah.
I want you to take this and run with it, brother, because you have 2 businesses now, both of which I know if you get systems in each one, they'll be wildly successful. You're not the only person who has 2 businesses. The difference between the successful people that have 2 businesses and the people that are sitting here wondering why each one isn't growing is because they have systems in place in each one.
You're
That's
right.
it. Very simple. Okay.
You're right. Yeah.
So my thought is, at the end of the day, I know that you can find one job. Okay. If you find just one job that will span out for 3 days, okay, if you and the other person do it together, okay. Now, what if the other person does it by himself? You say, listen, I'm going to hire you to do this job by yourself. Just walk with me here. And that takes him 5 days to do, right? But you
Yeah.
pay him handsomely, okay?
Yeah.
That gives you 5 whole days to find another one, okay? So you have 5 days. For 5 straight days, if I locked you in a room and I said, Jack, you got to find a job, would you find that job?
More than likely, yes.
More than likely. You would get extremely resourceful. Okay. So
Yeah.
I know that you're going to find one more job from him. And guess what? You might find it on day 2. So now you have a 8-day buffer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That either, and now guess what? Now you have an 8-day buffer, but you're not going to just stop there, Jack. You're going to find another one. Now you have a 13-day buffer with one guy. And then maybe you find another one that whole week. Maybe you sold 4 jobs that whole week. You were resourceful. You were growing your business that week. And now you have jobs for 2 weeks. And then you might say, you know what? Let me get this guy some help. Now that may squeeze your window down to 10 days. Okay. But guess what? Now you're moving. And then now you know the system. You're like, okay, I got to find work for these 2 guys. So you repeat the process, you repeat the process, you repeat the process, and then you learn marketing, and then you learn sales. And now you're selling for these guys. And while you're selling it, guess what? You're taking a break and you're working on your dessert business because all you're doing is you're on the phone trying to work deals. Tell me how far away that reality is, because I feel like you could get started on that today.
I think what you're talking about, I could probably get it done in a month.
In a month. And you're free.
Easy. So, right.
Jack got so excited he threw his phone.
1 second. There
you are. So easily, right? So easily, you could get that done within a month. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing is it's going to be risky. Now here's your insurance policy, because you might think, I don't know if I could do this, right? The insurance policy is this. You have a little bit of a buffer when you hire somebody, right? So let's say you conduct interviews this week. Today's Monday. And let's say you conduct interviews and you stretch it out and you say, okay, the interview's Thursday. You just bought yourself 4 days before you even commit to hiring somebody. Let's say you schedule 3 interviews on Thursday. Then you say, okay, great. We start next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what did you do? You bought yourself another 5 days, or Thursday to the Wednesday is 6 days. Okay. So that whole time you should be working on selling jobs. So when that guy starts, he's got work lined up for him. You see what I'm saying? So you have that buffer of time that you can pace out to say, okay, you're starting Thursday of next week and you'll be starting. People will be like, okay, great. That sounds great. They'll be excited.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you there, Tanner. What you're saying, I've already done. I've had guys where there's been like the biggest job we've ever done was about 2-3 years ago. It was a big restaurant, way out of my budget, but I lowered the budget to get it onto our CV type thing. And we had 4 guys working. Okay, 4 guys. By the end of the job, there was only 1 guy, which is me. Okay. Reason being, attitude, the way they were to the customer, the way they were on site. There was so many problems. Okay. So I think I grew too quickly to jump to 4 people. Okay.
Let me ask you this.
So, yeah. He hasn't put me off. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't put me off. It's never put me off. No.
I will.
Yeah.
I want to help. Tell me how you found these 4 guys.
Through a friend, I think. Through somebody. I think it was through somebody. Yeah.
You married?
Yeah, correct.
How'd you find your wife?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I knew I was coming.
You knew it was coming, dude. You know it was coming, and you trust your wife, and you love your wife, and she's committed to you, and you're committed to her. Correct. That's your problem. It's how did the relationship start? If you heard about 4 guys that have a pulse and a paintbrush, well, guess what? You're not guaranteed to get 4 polite guys that give a you know what about your business. Okay. I'm talking about, if you want to find good people, it takes time, man. I mean, you got to sit down with them one-on-one and be a professional and say, hey, listen, our company isn't just about painting. It's about treating people well. How do you feel about that? Oh, I don't care about people. I just want to paint. Well, great. You start tomorrow. No, thank you, man. Appreciate it. I'm looking for something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is a process, and your business all your business is labor. Okay. That's all you're offering to the marketplace. So it's worth the investment to actually give people the best quality labor that you can find. And sometimes it requires a little bit more than just asking your friends. It requires you sitting down, phone interview, in-person interview, Google check, social media check, background check. If you want the best labor in town, I have the best labor in town. Go read our reviews. Every review talks about our team. Every single one. I don't go to jobs because I spend time on the hiring. My hiring process is gruesome. But look at the results. So why would I change it?
Yeah. If it's not broken, why try and fix it? You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So yes. Do I believe that you bringing 4 guys on off the bat, that scares me? Yeah. I think that I would never do that. I would start with 1 guy and build a relationship and get to know this person and work alongside of him if I have to. And then add someone to him, because you need to learn the personality. You can't just throw 4 guys together. You got to learn guy number 1 and see what makes him tick or what type of leader he is. And then that's when you hire the next one. When I hire people, I think, will he get along with him, or is this personality going to conflict? Yeah. I don't just bring people on now.
When that approach, I was doing that for the dessert place. This is the same approach. I said to the guys from day 1, I said, right, I'm not changing a thing until you guys decide to leave. So the new owners is going to be me. I'm not changing. I'm not firing. I'm keeping it the same. Until you guys decide to leave, that's when you let me know and I start hiring. And then I'm going to start hiring like the way you just said. I'll be doing that with the dessert place. And the team fits, and the reviews on there are extremely good on the dessert place. So I'm learning everything from there, what you're talking about, from this side of the business. So I'm still learning. Does it make sense? Yeah. So what, in terms of hiring?
Can I ask you a question? I love that. You said to cut you off because I don't want you to miss this, and I have to cut you off here, okay? Because I want you to get this.
Yeah.
So imagine you being the investor of Paint Kingz, coming into Paint Kingz, even though you're Paint Kingz, but one day Paint Kingz is going to be separate from you. Why is the standard being held so high over here rather than your own baby, the business that you built, the business that you created? What's the difference? The difference is that you know that the customers who go to that dessert place expect greatness, and over at Paint Kingz, nobody's watching, so the standard drops. So you need to go into Paint Kingz, and I know you're learning, but I want you to get that because it's so important, man, is that you need to come into Paint Kingz with that same mentality, that same standard of hiring and developing a team and a system to do what you want, the way you want it every single time.
Correct. You're right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the reason why I reached out to you was to try to grow, but I don't want to grow too quickly. But with Paint Kingz, I've always said that one day it can be like a team of 5, a team of 7, because I've done it's proven with the dessert place in terms of hiring and firing and the way it is. And this is like the dessert place, I'm learning. So
Right.
the painting side is like it's second nature to me. So when a customer rings me up and I say, why is this? And I ask them 4 different questions, for instance. Why is this happen? Why is that happen? Why is this? It's probably because of this. It's probably without me going there. So if I had somebody who's working for me and they ring me up and say, this happened on the site or this happened, I'm like, have you tried doing this? Have you tried doing that? So without me actually even going there, these guys know what to expect.
Absolutely.
So I add value to them. Does it make sense?
It does.
But from becoming a self-employed person to becoming a contractor, it's a big jump because I've not done that. Does it make sense? So that approach that you are telling me to do, I don't know how it works in America, but over here, it's like when you see someone like that, you get the best of jobs. Trust me. When you're a contractor, you get the best of jobs, and you want to be on them jobs, and you're like, these guys have done like 2 hours work, and they're just chilling out. You know what I mean? And they're getting paid to chill out. But why aren't you doing that? Does it make sense? Why can't we do that? So I've always tried to think, okay, let's learn how. And I've been following you, and I'm thinking, okay, he's brought people on, and this guy, his systems. It's all about systems with you, which is fine, which is good, and that's in any business. It's a system. Once the system's set up, all you do is manage it. Once you manage it, then you just need to monitor it and keep it on. It's like you're saying, it's a baby. You just keep tabs on it every now and then. Show a little visit. I like the way Ryder does it. Ryder does exactly the same thing, right? But I don't know about his system because he's never talked to me about it. And I look at Ryder thinking, that's what I want to be. Well, I don't know what team or how many team of a man or a company you have, but I know Ryder's got like 48 or something.
I think this is what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about that you have this vision of automating your business, and it looks a lot bigger than you're making it sound. Like that, it's looking a lot big. The way you make it sound, it looks really big, right? It's like you're doing all these jobs and it's automated. You have these big teams. You have to learn first how to crawl before you walk. And
Correct.
To me, you still need to make it up in your mind that you're not allowed to paint anymore. Like, I'm sorry, you got the paint life hat on. You love to spray. You embody this profession. I love the passion. Transition that passion into teaching other people and being a manager and developing them, passing the torch, giving them a place to work and perfect their craft. If you want to pop in and do a little painting here and there just to satisfy you, cool. Just like me. Sometimes I like to go do an estimate, every once in a while, just to make sure that I still got it, man. But that's the first step. And my biggest concern, just being honest with you, I hope I'm wrong, is that after we get off this conversation, okay, you're going to go right back to doing everything yourself. And I can't have that, because that means that I wasted your time and you wasted my time, and I can't have it. So I need to know, what are you going to do after this call today that's going to be any different than what you would have done had we not spoken?
More than likely, one of the businesses have to go, and it won't be Paint Kingz. Okay, that's my mind I've made up anyway. So the dessert place is going to go because it's taking up too much of my time. Meaning
that's too much. I think although that I see that it's taking up a lot of your time, I think the process of you having to let that go is going to take too long anyway, because you got to transfer paperwork. You got to do that's like weeks away from now. I'm talking about, let's go back. Like there's action to be taken now in terms of like you hiring somebody, even though you don't have work. That's okay. I would be proud of you because ultimately I know you have, I don't know what what does pounds translate to dollar?
I think it's roughly it's like $50. It's like to the pound, it works out £100,
One
$50 or
pound,
something.
I just Googled it.
Yeah,
Is it a
about
pound sterling?
$55 to £100. Yeah, something
Okay,
like that.
so 1 pound is $1.35. So it's pretty
Yeah.
close. So I'm gonna say 500 pounds. Is that 500 bucks about?
Hmm.
Just around. Okay. Worst case scenario, if you don't find work for the week that you promised this person, you can pay them 500 bucks to stick with you for another week, could you? If you had
More than
to,
likely, yeah,
if you're
yeah,
a good person and you really want
yeah,
them on your team. So
yeah, yeah.
either way, you have an artificial bubble. You have the bubble that you can create in the time that you start vetting people and you actually bring them on board. Okay. And then you have the bubble of when you say they're going to start. This whole time, I'm talking the same time you put out an ad to hire somebody should be the same exact time that you start looking for work and scheduling that work in the future to line it up. And my rule for you is you're not allowed to paint the next job. So you need to find somebody. And when you create those barriers, okay, I can't paint this one. I have to find someone to do it. You'll be forced to be creative and resourceful. But that's the only option I see for you to have any success with your painting business, unless I'm missing something.
So what you're saying, Tanner, is basically if I want to grow my company, I can't paint.
Yeah, I'm 100% saying that. Because when you're painting, you're not growing, you're producing the result of growth. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Does Amazon grow when packages are being fulfilled?
Correct.
So you're
It's hit home
fulfilling
what you're saying.
packages.
Yeah. Even though it's a passion, even though it's a passion,
Passion. They
and
love
just
they love when people get the packages. Everyone
yeah,
loves the
yeah.
final job. As much as I love being there and seeing the customers see I love it. I'm better here in the office making calls, marketing, scheduling if I have to. I'm better at that than in my business. I know my place as a business owner. And this is the big challenge for contractors is they were successful in starting a business because they were good with their hands. Okay. But that's like saying somebody's starting Amazon because they can package things well and mail it.
Hmm.
And if no one's buying the things, guess what they can't do anymore? Package things and mail it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. The more you paint, the less you succeed.
Okay. Can I ask how you started in
Sure.
terms of dropping, like,
Great
because you
question.
obviously used to paint. You started off from one.
Yeah.
How many people on your team?
So right now I have 9 people working for me in my painting
Good
business.
number.
Yeah,
Good
good
number.
number. And I'm
Yeah.
going to keep it there so I
Do,
can still see
I
my
don't want to go. I Yeah, sorry. I don't want to dwell into finances and stuff. Do you work off like in terms of obviously profits and stuff? Do you work off percentages, or do you just work off this is what they get paid and this is what the company makes? And do you take a salary, or how does it work? So then I know.
both. Sure. So from a bird's eye view, that there's 2 ways for a business owner to make money in a business. I can draw a salary, or I can take a distribution, which is a bonus from the corporation. Okay. Because my company is an S corporation. So I'm also a 100% shareholder of Premium Painting. So
Okay,
therefore, what shareholders receive in terms of money are
dividends,
dividends. Okay.
dividends.
So I take dividends from the profits of Premium Painting, and I also take a salary for assuming the role of CEO. Okay. So there's a salary that I have to take as an S corp entity. Okay. So I take a salary, although I would prefer not to because you have to pay taxes as an
Taxes and
employee
stuff.
of your
Yeah,
own company.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So there's 2 ways to make money there. Okay. In terms of the way that my company operates, I have 9 people on an hourly wage, and after that, it's just paint. So the margins are independent of how much we spend on paint and labor. And then from whatever's left over is for salary for me and dividends in terms
Dividends.
of profit. Okay. So does that help you answer your question? a little
Yeah,
bit?
I think for me, when I thought about this, I thought, okay, there's two ways, obviously. Like, there's one way of you doing it, or there's a percentage of
Well, this
what.
percentage is the subcontractor way. I
Yeah,
think is that's where you're going with is if I sell the
yeah,
job for 10,000 and I call my subcontractor and he only wants 40% of whatever I sell, then he gets 4 grand.
correct.
It's the same thing. I just classify the people I'm paying differently because ultimately for them to complete the job in X amount of time, it may cost 4,000. So it doesn't matter. It's still you get whatever you sell, you ultimately end up with a percentage of it. So
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
that's,
Okay.
but you
And
have to,
when you went from transitioning from you painting, obviously you started off yourself by yourself as just one person, as you, Tanner, and then it grew as in you probably got a family member or friend or whoever, and then it
right,
one, two, three, four, all the way
right.
grew up.
Absolutely.
Did, did
I never painted by myself ever. There was
you
never
never
a time.
painted by yourself?
No, I started with my dad. He was the guy that actually painted and I would
Like
start
Ryder,
selling the jobs.
like Ryder, same
Okay.
story.
All right. So
Yeah.
I would sell the jobs. I would paint with him in the morning. I would schedule my estimates like at like 2 or 3 p.m. and I go do estimates. I didn't have many of them, but I was using Home Advisor. Home Advisor made it easy to find jobs because they just sent me leads. And I have a sales background. So there would be people that would answer the phone and I would say, and they would be like, oh, well, I'm not ready for an estimate. And me being in sales, I said, no problem. What day works for you? Oh, well, I don't need an estimate. And I'd say, no, actually, I'm going to be in your area. Is your address, blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, well, yeah, that's my address. Perfect. I'm going to be there in 30 minutes. I have an appointment right there. I'll stop by. It'll take me 10 minutes. And then I get the estimate. And I would use that sales strength to keep us busy. And then I was like, you know what? All right, time to bring someone else on. Time to bring someone else on. Time to bring someone else on. And then that turned into, at first, they were subcontractors. They were guys that ran their own business as independents, right? That
Yeah,
could paint, and we invited them to work alongside us. Then I
yeah,
was like, this isn't working. These guys have low standards, just like what you're explaining to me. I
yeah.
need to find
Correct.
employees.
Correct. Yes.
And then I built my business with employees.
Employees. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. Because it's very hard. Obviously, there's people listening. Is there people listening on podcasts as well?
they will be in the future. But yes, if you want to
Okay.
speak to them, you
So
can.
what I'm trying to get at is there'll be times where somebody has picked up bad habits, okay, that they have to unlearn. So somebody like that, it's very. I've tried and tested this with my wife, right?
Sure.
Why? I'll give you an example. Is she didn't know X, Y, Z, so it's easy to teach her to do
Sure.
something the way I want to be, or to get somebody who's already made up and like teach them a different way.
Right.
Does it make sense?
It
So I
does.
see that same thinking as okay, if this guy doesn't know how to do even lift a brush, you show him and he's gonna know because you showed him that way, and that's the only way that he knows.
Right.
Whereas if somebody's been taught a different sort of way, he's gonna have them bad habits of doing it a certain way, and he'll go back to the bad habits, and you have to keep correcting him, and you have to keep watching him and say, you're doing it again, go back to this way. Because it happens with obviously the dessert place. So I'm thinking, okay, this is what I need to do with this now. Is I'd rather get an apprentice and build them up than
Right.
to
I
getting
like that.
somebody who's an experienced painter who's been doing it 5 or 10 years. But then if I get an apprentice, my time is limited because obviously I'm
Right.
teaching them as well as me doing the painting side. Does it make sense?
Absolutely. It does make sense. And there's, here's my point on that because it's very important that, when you're trying to create a system, you have to understand that, you have to be mindful of the type of jobs that you're taking in terms of the skill set that's required to do those jobs. Because let me say this, if you're only taking Venetian plaster in your business because you can do it, okay, and you're expecting to bring someone on to do something that you've learned for 20 years, good luck, right? I'm about systems, and I know that the easiest system, not the highest profit, not the highest skill, I know that I can make a higher profit margin painting cabinets. I know that. I get 2 to 3 calls per week to ask me to do cabinets. I know that, but guess what that will do? That will break my system. My system is wall, ceilings, trim, doors. So whenever anyone in my company leaves, I can replace them and the system never breaks because I don't need super high level skill. I just need somebody that can cut a straight line and spray a door every now and then. I could teach someone that if they have the mindset to learn.
You're right. You're right. And the
Your
reason,
system
well, yeah,
will protect you. And
yeah,
as a business owner, you could be your greatest enemy if you get the tingly feeling to take on popcorn removal, or you get the tingling feeling to take on staining things that you don't have experience with. You are compromising the system, and that not only compromises in terms of the time that you're going to spend, but it's going to compromise the learning curve of the people and the expectations that they're held to. And it's going to drop the morale of your company, because ultimately they are experiencing that. So you come there with a certain expectation that they can't hit because you set them up for that. So not necessarily saying you, I'm just saying that you have to be
yeah,
systematic. There's
yeah,
companies that are going to be systematic like me, and we're going to win every time. But majority of the companies out there are taking whatever they can. They're not tied to the system. And I use this analogy a lot. You guys got Starbucks out there in the UK?
yeah, yeah. Of course we have. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you believe that because Starbucks has so many customers, do you believe that they could throw a grill in Starbucks and start cooking burgers if they wanted to
And make money. Yes, they
make
can
money?
because they're
Sure.
branded.
But
They're the
what will
brand.
that do for the people that come there for coffee?
Well done.
They're gonna leave because they come there for quick coffee, not for a burger. So people come to me for a fast, efficient wall, ceiling, trim, door, paint job, not for other things, because I don't want my other customers who are coming to me for that to wait too long where I can't even touch them. I took a cabinet job today. Guess what? That's going to put my team out for a week. So the people that come to me for what I'm actually really good at, they're not going to get me. You see?
Mm. And then if you was to do that job, that cabinet job yourself for the system to carry on flowing, it'll take away
From
your
the
time away
listen,
from
oh,
putting
don't
work into
even get
them.
me going on my system. I have my own system for sales, follow-ups on a certain day, amount of follow-ups, emails sent. This is my own system that I
I like
developed.
that. I like that. How you
So,
do that. That's why one of the reasons why it got me thinking to follow up. And I was
right.
like, do you feel a bit desperate, or am I keep asking this customer? Do you know what I mean? As a painter, I don't know if you've read one of my posts. I put it up a couple of whiles. You probably haven't, but about a month
I
ago,
may
where I
have.
said hiring a painter and who's not booked in for a couple of months doesn't necessarily mean that he's not good at what he does. It's probably because he might have had a cancellation or something might have
Right.
popped up with the customers or whatever it was. So this is when you go out to look for a painter, trying to book in advance.
Sure.
So sometimes my motto is this. I always, for the social media, I always look better than we are. So then people think, wow, that's all they're there for. Because when they're on social media, they're looking for
I think
entertainment.
everyone does that, just not just in business.
You're right there. You're right there. You're absolutely. It has to be the perfect post, the
Yeah.
perfect picture, everything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I understand what you mean. So for me, transitioning for myself from, I've always said this. I would like to grow the company, but to grow the company, I like to put in money. I would like everyone to be on sprays. I would like everyone, because that's where the finish is, the sprays. I would like everyone to be on sprays. I want it to be taught a certain way. But to transition myself from just me, one person, to 10 people in the space of just say a year, for instance, right? Because I know it can be done. Because in the UK, one of the reasons why I got into the painting industry is when I started this company, me and my mate, we started in the construction game. Okay, then he wanted to do. Do you know plastering?
Yes.
Yeah. So he wanted to do his plastering because that's what he's good at. And I said to him, "Well, you want to do jack of all trades, and I don't want to. I want to become masters of one, and then slowly, gradually,
Right.
maybe do other things." Okay. So he has made some mistakes for the past 6 months to a year to obviously doing that, and then once he's seen how I done it, he just focuses on one thing now,
Yeah.
which
And he
he
could be
takes
the
from me.
best plasterer. And that's if that's all he does. And that is cool. I don't
That's
care.
what I
And
said. Yes.
I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. If you are
Yeah.
passionate about spraying and you just want to do cabinets, just do cabinets,
Yeah.
right?
Correct. Yeah.
Don't do walls. You're going to
Yeah.
be asked to do
Yeah.
this stuff. Don't
Yeah.
do it. Right.
Yeah.
So it's diverse, but I will be honest with you. If you come away with anything from here, the next time you pick up a paintbrush, just know that your business is dying. And I don't mean to be harsh there, but it is, because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's either going to be growing or it's going to be dying. And every time that you take away time that you could be spending marketing, selling. And by marketing, guess what? If you have 8 hours in a day and you knocked on 100 doors in an hour, okay, that's 1.25 per minute, okay, I guarantee you'll find somebody to let you paint something. So that is time wasted that you could be marketing. Now, yes, there's more convenient ways to do it, which are paying people to do it or getting on Google and all that stuff. But remember, you're most valuable in a sales and marketing role. That's it. There's no more discussion after that. And until you can adopt that, then we could talk about greater systems and having everybody have the perfect sprayer and the vans lined up perfectly and all this stuff. But those guys who are accomplishing that, you know, they have people painting for them and they're able to actually focus on those things. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'll give you example, small little example to the detail of work that I do, right? To what we do. I would like our workers to, and employees to do. We have our own hoovers, we have our own brushes, we have our own mop buckets, we have all that. Generally, we have every single tool in terms of painting. Now, around me, nobody has that kind of stuff. We have the uniform, which Paint Kingz on. Nobody even has that. Does it make sense? So in
Yeah.
terms of going forward, we're already ahead of the game because they'll just look at us and think,
Jack,
okay, they're wearing this.
Jack, you have no one working for you, bro.
I know this.
I know, but listen, you're the one who just told me in the beginning of this thing that you don't say that you're the best. You're telling me that you're the best right now. And I'm coming at you saying, when you have 4 guys on every job, and that is the system of Paint Kingz, when customers and homeowners know, oh my gosh, Paint Kingz comes in with 4 painters every time. They're all dressed professionally. They all show up on time. They all are courteous and they are kind. Your business will explode.
But
Okay.
it's the mind frame. Getting the mind frame I'm trying to say is, if you was to obviously in a different approach, is like if somebody else was to copy us, what we're doing, we're about to do, should I say, right? I shouldn't be living in a bubble. It's right what you're saying. Yeah, I'm living in a bubble, right? It's I've got it all here, so it's all set. It's just for me to put it into action. Does it make sense? And I think I need that push from someone like yourselves to say, Jack, have you done it? And then the next day, why have you not done it? Did it? And I think you will be doing that because you are good at following up.
I care enough, but I don't need to do that every day. I just know that we probably won't connect again until there's growth, because I gave you everything I had here. I really came at you in a way that maybe was a little aggressive. Hopefully it sparked something in you, but you can't have another conversation again. That's just how I operate until we pass wherever you are now. And my thing is, the next time we speak, I should hear that you have a full-time employee that you're keeping busy. And even if you've been able to keep yourself busy for this long, right?
Yeah.
You've managed. So that means that if you step away, you can keep someone else busy. Will you make the same amount of money? Yes or no? No. Okay. Will you make less money?
Yes.
But does that free you to do what?
Growing with the business.
And make more money.
Correct.
Okay. Because right now, when I was you, I was only making money on 1 job at a time. Now I'm making money on 2 jobs. And although, yes, if I wanted to, okay, I can go out, I could fire everybody and find a $7,000 job to do by myself every week. I could do that if I wanted to. Okay. Yeah. I would be burnt out. It'd be a poor experience for my customers. I would make close to the same amount of money on a net income basis. Okay. If it were like $5,000 a week, right? I could, but ultimately there's no system there. And eventually I'm going to run into the position where I won't be able to keep myself as busy as I have been, because I'm not selling anymore. I'm deep in the brush. I'm sweaty, going to estimates, sweating, in a rush, hanging up on people. What was it? Pre-qualifying people. Hey, how big's the house? Oh, sorry, we don't do it, because I'm tired, even though I know that I could go to anyone's house and build value and show them why they need to do more than what they think they need to do. Okay. So all these things come into play, and we can have a totally different conversation. I've got to cut us off, man. That is our time for the episode, but I expect to hear you back, man. I really want you back here, and I really want to hear what happened.
I personally think, obviously, at the moment, I'm not saying to you, I will not go and hire somebody tomorrow. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying is my focus is Paint Kingz as well as the dessert place because it's switched. I don't know if you have you got two businesses? Did you say you did? Yeah, you did.
A
Yeah.
software company and premium painting.
Software company works by itself. You got somebody running it, or it works by
No,
itself, or
software company needs my attention right now because it's early on, but I'm able to give it my full attention because premium painting is running itself. And I'm sitting here coaching you, which even though I don't accept any money to do this, I see it and I treat it just like it's a business. So 3.
yeah, it's good. It's good.
Jack, listen,
I,
where are we
I think
going with this?
I think what you're saying is it's 100% true, right? Whether you've been harsh, whether you've been soft, it's been true, right? I think the problem will still lie itself within me to actually making that first move. But until I do that, just expect Tanner's not going to pick the phone up. So if you want to move forward and explain, yeah, Tanner, guess what? Yeah, I've hired this guy and he's doing this. But then you're right, that's great, right? How are you going to get the next one? How are you going to get? Oh, okay, so you're going to actually think, okay, he's actually made an effort, even though he's got a lot going on. He's made an effort, so you can see that I'm trying. Then, and
Yeah.
if I just turn the phone off and I don't even do anything, you don't even speak to me again.
I'll never know. But listen, but here's the thing: this is for you, man. This is your business. It's your family. It's your life right now. And this is why I do this, because I want to be the person that gives you that push. And I'm being honest with you. I know the law of diminishing intent. Do you know what that is?
No.
Diminishing intent means right now you're as excited as you'll ever be to take this next step. Okay. The longer you wait, that excitement diminishes. Okay. That's it. It diminishes. It goes down. Law of diminishing intent. So tomorrow, you're not going to have this spark that I'm giving you from my soul that says, Jack, hire someone, put out an ad today.
Okay. Are you on Snapchat?
No.
Okay. Do you use all social media?
Instagram, Facebook.
LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
Okay, cool. Right. Now I'm going to follow you on all these other platforms. So just by me like talking to you, I'm actually learning at the same time. Right? I'm that kind of person. I'm actually that
Jack,
kind of person. I am going to go, and I'm telling you now, you'll see it, and then you're going to say, thanks, man. Right? And I will literally, not on Instagram, not straight, because Instagram's a different approach. You've got to approach them differently. So I will be putting something up probably by the end of this week on Instagram. But on the rest of them,
there's these companies now. You have Indeed. I know that you guys have job post company. Yeah, Indeed, ZipRecruiter. I know that those are available to you. I mean, we're not looking for people that are scrolling on Instagram. We're looking, same deal, right? You want to talk about lead services. Do you want the people on Facebook? Yeah, you'll get some Facebook leads, but they're not as committed. No, I know. I'm just saying they're not as committed as people that search for your services on Google. In the same way, when people go to Indeed, they're what? Looking for a job. You don't want somebody on Instagram just hanging out, eating cheese puffs, looking through, and then seeing your ad come up. Be deliberate, you know? Be deliberate. If you really want somebody and you believe that you're going to find somebody, you got to have that drive in you to maybe be uncomfortable with learning how to post on Indeed or being vulnerable and looking at other postings to get ideas. Like that's the type of drive that you have to have. And I think that the approach of LinkedIn and Facebook, that's a lazy approach. You're going to get lazy results. So that's what I got for you.
I'm going to obviously cut you short as well, because obviously you need to go as well. What we're going to say to you is, by end of this week, Dana, I am going to hire somebody. And
that's what I, that's what.
And if I don't, delete me off Instagram, delete me off everything, block me and everything.
And anyone, I'm sure that anyone who listened to this episode in its entirety is cheering for you, man, because this is a hard thing to do. And I'm just giving you motivation, brother. I know that you can, but you're ultimately responsible. If you believe that you can do it, I don't care if you have a job, man. You'll get one when you have somebody that's counting on you. So you can do it. All right, man. I'm going to cut us off, but we'll catch up and we will talk soon, bro. All right, man.
Take care.
Hey, I just want to take a second to thank you for joining me here on the Contractor Secrets podcast. I'm just going to take this opportunity to let you know that my passion is coaching people, helping people. I've changed my Instagram name to @contractorcoach. And I did that because that is my passion. I want to help you. So please reach out to me. If you have an issue going on in your business, send me an email. Find me on Instagram, message me, and let's do a breakthrough session. I want to work through your problems in your business to help you get to that next level. And one thing that I always say is this, the difference between those that get over the humps and the hurdles in business is just a change in perspective. And that's what I plan to offer you. So get with me, message me, allow me to help you take your business to the next level.